Okay, so hey, welcome today to this class. We're going to talk today about the buyer consult. So I don't know, just by a raise of hands maybe for the people that are actually physically here, how many of you actually do a buyer consult with all of your buyers prior to going and looking at homes? So we have 2-3 people, maybe 3.5 people, like not all of them, some of them, right? So when I got into business years ago, I used to hear people say, well, make sure that you do your buyer consult. And I was like, yep, going to do a buyer consult, going to do all that stuff, and then we're going to go find them a house. Well, guess what? I didn't even know what a buyer consult was. And most people call them buyer presentations, like do a buyer presentation. And let me be clear about my opinion of a buyer presentation opposed to a buyer consultation. Anybody tell me what the difference between a buyer presentation and a buyer consultation is?
Yeah, presentation sounds like it's just you talking like one way, and a consultation kind of sounds more like it's two-way.
Okay. Yep. So a presentation's about me, about how great I am. Look at me. I've been in real estate for 15 years. I've sold thousands of homes. I did a bunch of short like it's a long list of my accomplishments. And guess what? In my opinion, I don't think the buyer cares that much. Like that's information that you can give to them on a piece of paper. They probably looked online. That's part of your social media profile. That's part of all of the stuff that they found online about you. I really don't think that buyers spend a lot of time caring or thinking about what your accomplishments are. They got to you somehow, whether it's through a lead from somebody else, a referral, if it's some door knocking, it's from cold calling. Like they got to you somehow and they agreed to talk to you. At this point, my personal opinion is they don't care what your personal accomplishments are. You may need some of that later in the conversation, but up front, this is really about a consultation. It's about me trying to learn from you. And all of you today, by the way, are going to be the buyers. I'm probably going to have all of you kind of get a little closer so we can have a actual consultation, if that's okay. So if you guys will kind of just start moving closer to the front so it feels a little more consultationist. Yeah, like right now, get into action. Let's do this. Vaughn, get up here. You got to ask the questions.
I will ask from here.
All right, so I think this is a consultation. I think this is about me talking to you about your goals in real estate, meaning what are you trying to buy? What does that look like? Where do you want to be? All those kind of conversations. And I've supplied to everybody who's here what I call our 10 plus buyer consultation. Okay, so just know that my opinion is if you're doing, here's the real issue with the presentation for me. If I was doing a presentation today, I could literally, Beta asked me when I got here, are you going to be using the TV? And I said, I'm not going to be using the TV. But if I was doing a presentation, I would be using the TV because I can put graphics up. I can make it real visual, right? I can make it look really cool. And I can push play, and then I can go to lunch. And then I can come back from lunch at the time that the presentation ends and answer any questions. But that's not really what people want. People don't want to watch a movie about you and your accomplishments. They would like you to be concerned about them. So for me, it's a buyer consultation. I do buyer consultations. My team does buyer consultations. We don't do presentations. If somebody on my team says, I've got a buyer presentation at 3 o'clock tomorrow, I'll immediately correct them. No, you have a consultation tomorrow and you treat it like a consultation, and that's you learning about them, not them learning about you. Does that make sense? All right, I'll get off my soapbox. I just want everyone to understand that my opinion is it's a consult, it's not a presentation, okay? So I'm gonna I learned this, I was probably in the business 10 years before I took the buyer consultation really serious. Like we had 2 people raise their hand and say, or 3 that they do consultations prior to taking a buyer out to look at a house. But let me be honest, if you've ever sold a house, you've done this consultation, because you can't really find somebody a home if you don't know how many bedrooms they want, if you don't know what part of town they want to be in, and what size house it needs to. Like, this part of this consultation you've done before. It's just never been very formal. And the reason that I decided that I needed to go super formal with it like this, and we need to sit down, have an appointment in the office, was for two reasons, and I don't want anyone to be offended, but it's the truth. I have a wife and 2 daughters, so I'm very safety conscious as a father and as a father and a husband. I can't remember what that was called, sorry. So I'm always worried about safety, and a lot of the people on my team are women, and I'm always concerned that they're out showing houses to people they've never met. And so for me, this was a way I could get my people on my team to bring people into the office. I could walk by randomly past the conference room and look in and see who's in there and form my opinion. I know that's not really politically correct, but like, I'm always concerned about safety, and this was one way that I could actually get that to happen. Does that make sense? And so I want my people to meet somebody in the office where there's a group of people around them. I don't want people meeting somebody at the front door of the first house they ever go to and have never met this person, and they roll up in a white van with no windows, right? I mean, that's just not what we want to happen. Does that make sense? So that's, yeah, scares me too. Like,
Don't be scared.
no, I would be scared.
Don't be scared.
No? Nobody wants me? I'm okay if the van shows up?
You wouldn't fit in my trunk.
Thanks, Mike. There you go. It would have to be a van, right? Because I'm not going to fit in the trunk. I agree. All right, so that's kind of where this consultation was important in my life. And then I went out and I said, okay, I'm going to go figure out, like, what does this look like? And by the way, when I started, it was a presentation. Like, I was going to put together the best listing or buyer presentation I could possibly put together. And about 2 weeks after I decided that, I was up against another agent with a buyer. They were interviewing 2 agents. One agent was they had to go to his office, and he was going to give them a present and show them the presentation, and they called it a presentation. And I was like, oh great, I'm dead in the water. I don't have a chance, right? So I go to the appointment. It's a day later. It's at their home. I sit down at their table with them. And the very first thing the wife says to me is, are you going to show us a movie? And I was like, no. What do you mean? Like, well, I can. I have my laptop. I guess I could stream one in if you want. But, and she's like, no, I mean, like, the guy that we talked to yesterday, they told me who it was. And when I found out who it was, like, fear struck my entire body, because I knew the guy. I knew I was no way I was going to win this thing. And she said, all he did was show us this movie and then ask us to sign a bunch of paperwork. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely not doing that. Don't worry. No, that's not my, so now my whole approach has changed, right? I'm like, all right, so yeah, this presentation thing's not going to work. Let me put that away. Let me figure this out. So ultimately, I ended up working with that client. We bought him a house. It was up in Summerlin. It was great. They took me to court after it was over and sued me over a refrigerator. It was awesome. Oh. And I learned that people may not like the presentation, they like the consultation, and that's when I went that direction, okay? So this is the consultation that I do. Every agent on my team, Gio, doesn't know this yet. Gio, raise your hand back there, hi. Gio's a new agent on my team. She's just finding out right this minute, this is reality TV, that she's gonna have to do this consultation with me before I give her buyer leads. Like, everybody on my team has to be able to do the consultation and be good at it before we start giving leads. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, good. So she's for it. Good. Glad to hear it. All right, so let's get started. Hey, thanks for coming in today. We talked on the phone, and you're thinking about buying a home, and I appreciate that all of you have come. You're a very large Hawaiian family moving from the island here to the valley, and we're going to need to find, it looks like, at least a 12-bedroom home. And that's great. We're gonna get that done. So hey, I just want to thank you for coming in. I appreciate you taking the time out of your life to come in and meet with me, so that I can be super clear on exactly what you're looking for, what your needs and wants are, and what your goals are. And I'm going to make sure that I put all of that together, so that when we start looking at houses, we find a home that you love and that you're going to be excited to move into. Is that fair? All right, good. So So first things first, let's talk about a couple of things. I've provided all of you guys the same paperwork that I'm using, and I'll be going through this paperwork, by the way. So let me just say, I want you to understand that our purpose here today is for me to learn about you and for you to learn about me. And my goal today is that you learn about me and my team, and that you understand and that you see the value that my team brings to the buying process. Remember when we talked on the phone, we talked about the buying process and what that looks like and where does it start and where does it end. And we're going to talk about that some more today. But I want you guys, I want all of you to understand what my team provides. And my goal is that you like that. My goal is that you're excited to work with us because of that process. And I'm excited, and my goal is to learn what you're trying to do, make sure I can help you achieve the goals that you have, and in the end, we decide to work together. Does that make sense? Like, I want to make sure that I want to work with you and that you want to work with me. Now, let me be clear. One thing that may happen today is you may decide you don't like me. You may decide that you don't understand how the team works in this process, and you may decide not to work with me. Look, I'm not going to be offended if that happens. I know this is just a business decision. It's not personal. But I just want you to know that that's not my goal. My goal is not that you decide not to work with me. My goal is that we do work together. And there's a third option and a third possibility, and that is I may decide that I can't help you reach your goals. Based on the consultation we have today, I might figure out that it's not possible for me with my skill set to help you reach your real estate goals, and I may decide not to work with you. And again, at that point, I don't want you to be offended. It's solely a business decision. I would rather let you know today that I can't help you reach your goals rather than let you down 30 days from now. Does that make sense? Like, I would rather we separate today in a situation where you just know I can't help you, and I've decided not to work with you. So there's three possibilities, right? One is that we're going to work together. Two is that you don't like me and you don't want to work with me. And three is I can't help you reach your goals. There's some part of your goals that doesn't fit into my business plan, and I may choose not to work with you. Yeah, did you have a question?
Yeah, do you have an example of when you wouldn't want to work with the buyer?
They're psychotic.
Which one?
Yeah, so to be honest, yeah, there's times when I mean, again, a large Hawaiian family moving here you guys probably want, a big lot. You may be in a situation where you need a bunch of rooms and a bunch of land, and you may not have a big enough budget for that because housing becomes expensive in Vegas. So I don't know that yet, and that's not my goal. I want you to understand my goal is that we work together. And at one time today, we're going to have that conversation about, are you ready to work with me because I'm ready to work with you? Is that fair? Okay, any questions about that? By the way, all of you are the family, and you can ask any questions that you want. All right, good. So let's just get right into this. Let me ask this question on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being not so desirable, 10 being very desirable. What's the one thing that has to happen during this transaction that would make it a 10 for you? Like, I want this to be a 10. I want this experience to be the best possible experience that you could have. What would be a 10? Let's hear it.
You find the house that I'm looking for.
Okay, so we're good. So find a home. Good. That's what we're here for. Yep. That you like. What else? Like, what would make this a 10?
That you're easy to get a hold of?
So easy to get a hold of. So can we call that communication?
Yes.
Good. Okay, great. Communication's a good one. By the way, I kill it at communication, just so you know. All right, what else? I mean, when people call me at 7 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon and ask me a question, I answer the phone. And I've got proof of that here today if you want to go with that. All right, what else makes it a 10? Seriously, I want to know. Let's hear it. You got to tell me.
You
Like,
negotiate a good price for the house.
okay, so great negotiations. Okay. Negotiation and a good price. Great. Got it. What else? I really should be sitting, but it feels weird, so I'm going to stand. Sorry.
I mean, if you can do all that, that'd be great.
So that's a 10. Okay. Anybody else? Seriously, throw out here, like, what's important to you? What's going to make this a 10? Understanding that a 10 is when you're going to go tell all your friends and your family, like the entire island that you're moving from is going to know who Todd Barton is.
Save me some money.
Don't show me apples when I want oranges.
Okay, so be accurate in what we look at. Okay? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Great. So what was that back there in the peanut?
Some money.
Save you some money. Okay. Yeah, we had that with negotiating. Is that what you mean, like negotiate a great price?
Kind of.
Okay. But kind of doesn't seem like a yes to me. Tell me.
You know, I just kind of feel like, there's a lot of competition out there, and I need an agent that's going to go to bat and, find me a great priced home and save me on my costs. So, it's all of it.
Okay. Good. I got you. Yes.
Being honest.
Honest. Great. That's a good one. Honesty. I'm not very good at honesty. No, I'm just joking. Of course, I'm great at honesty. That's something that you'll find, I think you'll find. All right, anything else? All right, now let me ask you this question. What would cause this transaction to go from a 10 to a 10 plus? All these things that we just talked about are important. I understand that. But what would make it just so over the top that literally you'd be willing to get on the roof of your new home and yell that I'm the greatest real estate agent in the country?
Well, follow up, because once, you're not a one and done.
All right, great follow-up. Okay. Perfect. What else? What else would make it a 10 plus? Undeniably the best transaction you've ever been involved in.
Check the box on all those things I told you earlier.
Yeah, so we can, so by the way, I haven't written down anything here that I'm afraid of. Let me be clear. I'm good at all that stuff. Been doing it long enough that I can kill all that stuff. Anything else? No, nothing else?
Well, we had a smooth transaction. I
Okay.
don't have to stress about anything.
Good, because we're going to talk about that, because one of the values that my team brings to this is, I don't know if you know, but there's over 180 things that happen in a real estate transaction. 180, that's a lot of things. And my team will handle all 180 of those. We'll keep you informed. We'll make sure that you understand what's going on. We'll have you execute on the things that you need to do, but we'll make sure that all 180 of those things happen. So it's actually a great point, and I appreciate you bringing that up. All right, tell me about your house. What does it look like? Let's hear it. What's the perfect house look like? I really want to know your top fives, if at all possible.
12 bedroom.
12 bedrooms.
Half acre at least.
Okay, so we got to have a half acre. So tell me about your half acre. Is it because the house is really big, or are you looking for a lot of land? Do you want grass? Is it a place to park a boat? Is it RV? I mean, like, why a half acre?
Everything you said.
All of those things. Okay, so you're going to have a boat. So we need some type of RV parking. Okay.
Gotta put the pool in there.
Got to put a pool in, so big enough for a pool, or
I want
could
a
it?
pool.
All right, so we're going to have a pool. Let me get that written down here. Pool. Okay. So let's see. By the way, I'm writing all of this down just so I don't forget anything. It's not like I can't remember some stuff, but I like to write stuff down. So we're at least a half acre. Cool. What else? RV parking. Let me write that down. We don't care about.
Good, safe location.
All right. Good, safe location. Tell me about that. What do you mean?
I'm playing devil's advocate. I want a safe neighborhood.
Okay. So here's what's going to happen with that. I don't know if you know this. I know that you know this.
I know.
But crime happens in every neighborhood, right? So what we're going to do when we find a home that you love, I'm going to send you over to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department's website, and I'm going to let you research exactly what the crime looks like in that neighborhood. And when you do that, I want you to keep in mind, crime happens in every neighborhood. So don't think you're ever going to find a home in Vegas or anywhere for that matter, where there's zero crime. That's not an option. But you can look at what kind of crimes are happening, right? Does that help? Is that okay? All right, what else does your house look like? Tell me about the kitchen. Does it have a kitchen? Do you care? Does it have blue cabinets? Does it have white cabinets, tile floors?
Open concept.
Temporary modern.
Everybody wants.
Quartz countertop.
Quartz countertop? Okay, so would granite be okay? Because quartz and granite kind of look the same.
More quartz.
You like the quartz? Okay.
It depends on the house.
Just so you know, quartz in Vegas has only really been popular for about 5 years. So if we're going to find something with quartz, it's probably going to be a newer home. Okay? Somebody else had something else? That's it? This is the perfect house? 12 bedrooms?
Vaulted ceilings,
So vaulted ceilings. Did I hear somebody say,
island,
At least the 4-car garage.
with a 12-bedroom house, it'll be a little bit more.
4-car garage? Okay.
So
bedroom. And
So someone said island. Tell me about your island. What does it look like?
I would like the sink to be in it. as
The
well-
main sink or a vegetable sink?
Main sink,
Okay,
as well as my dishwasher, my
Okay.
wine fridge, and my ice maker. What happened?
okay.
That's all your house.
So can I,
all this for 200. Can you get all this for 200?
in Summerlin probably, can I assume that your island's very big then?
Yes,
So you're not looking for an island that's about the size of this table, like a prep area. You're looking for like where the family gathers kind of island? Okay, so it's got to be a
and
bigger.
entertain on it and set up the food.
Oh, a chef's kitchen. Okay. Let me write that down. I'll look that up later. Chef's kitchen.
It's a 12 bedrooms, gonna need an eat-in kitchen or country kitchen, whatever the proper term is, but. when we-
So like with a nook, so they have a table in there.
Yeah, like a
or you-
space that's big enough to actually put like a big kitchen table.
So maybe a formal dining room. Does that matter? I mean, as long as there's a place for a table, that's what you're saying is you want.
Big enough.
Okay, good.
Area.
Okay, what else? What else does your house look like? Anything?
No HOA.
No HOA.
Oh, nice, thank you, appreciate that.
Okay, no HOA.
But
You
very-
plan on painting it purple?
That size lot we're looking for, I don't think it's gonna have an
but
HOA
very
anyway.
cute.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I should have said with.
With an HOA, that'd kill us. We'd be living in the north for sure. All right, anything else? This is what your house looks like. I'm okay if this is what it looks like. I just want to make sure there's no other, like what, I want you to think about things that if it doesn't have this, I'm not buying it. One of them was the example here in the front was with a pool.
Schools and maybe, infrastructure, like you don't want to be somewhere where you gotta drive forever to get to the store.
Okay, so that's, I'm going to be honest with you, that's about all of Las Vegas. Like Vegas has done a really good job with enough commercial near homes. There's the school district there's enough schools. I mean, you're not driving 40 minutes to get anywhere. I mean, in 40 minutes in Vegas, you're getting from the north to the south, right? So yeah, and I know that's different than where you're coming from in Hawaii, right? So you will experience that. So I think you're going to be fine there. Okay, so nothing else we have to have. Pool, RV parking, a large lot, 12 bedrooms, a big island with an ice maker and a wine fridge, a dishwasher, the actual main sink in the island. Did I miss anything there? Is that what you were?
That was perfect.
That was good? Okay, good. All right. Okay, good. So let me ask you this question then. What if I can't find this house? What are some things you'd be willing to give up?
Not my island.
Not the island? Would you be willing to give up the pool? As long as there was room to put another pool in?
I guess.
Okay, all right, good. How about the bedrooms? Could we get down to 8 bedrooms? Would that work?
You can double up.
You put a couple in the garage, I guess.
I mean, if we can't, we can't, but I want to be clear. I mean, I have to know the must-haves because that's what it takes to buy a house. We have to know exactly what you're looking for. So if 12 is 12 and that's all it can be, I'm okay with that, but could it be 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how about your 4-car garage? Could it be a 3?
No, because if we got all these people, they got cars.
Okay, so you're gonna have to have 4
I
cars.
have at least somewhere to put mine.
Though that's only a
That's a
1-car.
one-car garage though, but you own 3 cars.
Okay, so we could go 8-car. We might be able to get away with no pool. Got that. We have to have the 4-car. We have to have the island. Could we have granite instead of quartz?
We can.
Okay, so quartz we might fudge on just a little bit. RV parking, like what if there's room for RV parking but it's just not set up yet? Like you'd have to knock down a wall and put in a gate and put in the concrete. Would you be okay to do that? Or do you actually want the RV parking set?
RV parking.
You want it set, okay. All right, cool.
But a lot of times when you have a big lot though, you might have room, space for stuff like that. If you're
Yeah.
on a lot.
So we'll start with have to have, and then we'll see what happens with that because we're going to look that stuff up here shortly. All right, so let me ask this question. This is a hard one. This is a hard question for people to answer. How do I win with you? Like, what do I need to do to win with you?
I want you to really care about my needs and just work hard for me.
Care and work hard. Can you explain work hard?
Do your best.
Do my best. Okay, good. Any other way to win with you?
Transparency.
Transparency. Okay. Anything else?
Availability.
Available. Okay. So to win with you, to win with this family, I've got to be transparent. I've got to work hard. Dang it, I forgot. I have to care about you. And I have to be available. Is that good? Are we good there?
Save me money.
Save you some money. All right. And so let me be clear about the save the money. I'm going to point out every single time I save you a few dollars. Is that okay? I'm not sure I can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I know there's some places where I can save you some money that maybe other agents don't know about. Is that fair? So I'll point that out as we go through the transaction. I think that's fair. All right, let me ask this question. How do I lose with you?
Lie.
So be dishonest? Lie is such a hard word.
But dishonest just sugarcoats it.
Dishonest. Okay. How do I lose with you? Say again?
No communication.
Okay, so I'm not available. So that's just opposite of how I win with you with availability. Okay, so we won't go there. How else do I lose with you?
Brush me off.
Okay, so that's opposite of care about. So we'll just go with I'm going to care for you rather than not care for you. That's okay?
I'll accept that.
Good. All right, any other way other than being dishonest that I'm going to lose with you? All right, let me ask this question. What do you think I can expect from you? Like we've talked so far about all the things that you guys expect from me. Now what is it? What are 2 or 3 things that I can expect from you?
Answer my phone calls as soon as possible.
So communication. So you're going to answer your phone? Like I'm going to have a point of contact and that person's going to be able to answer the phone. Okay. By the way, that's a big one because sometimes some of the things we need to talk about are urgent and some of the things are not, but we do need someone that can answer the phone. Okay. So communication. By the way, can we designate who I'll be calling? Does anybody know that yet?
Mm-hmm.
Who is it? The non-sugar coder back there? Okay. No sugar. Good. What do you feel that you have a right to expect from us as a real estate team? Like what can you expect? What do you think you should be able to expect from us? Besides all the stuff we've already talked about, is there anything else?
That you know the community.
Okay, so knowledge. Good. Okay.
Meet your deadlines, so I don't lose my deposits.
Okay, so be conscious of your money.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. And then what I can expect from you is good communication. You guys said that. Anything else?
Punctuality.
So I can expect you to be punctual, or you're expecting me to be punctual?
Both.
Both. Okay, so you'll be punctual, and then you want me to be punctual.
Exactly.
Perfect. I can't spell that, but I got it. Okay, what else? Anything that we haven't talked about that you thought we would talk about at this point? Everyone's good. This is the house we're looking to buy. Any questions about my team and services that we provide?
Do you charge?
I was just gonna say that. How much are you
I was
gonna
gonna
charge?
say that. Yeah, we ain't
A lot. We charge a lot. And we're going to talk about that. Just not at this particular second, okay? But it's a great question. So yes, we'll talk about that. What else? Any questions about my team, about my experience, about anything that you want to know prior to us to getting into business together?
Well, since you have a team, is there someone that is in charge of this team? you know, because a lot of times you call, like I know I did a deal with, what's his name?
Some lady named Mary.
Aaron Taylor, and I've never talked to him.
So your question is, during this process, will you talk to me directly?
Right, will I be talking to you, or will it be, you know, someone you have that's the leader of the team, or?
So we do have an admin team, and there is a head admin. Her name is Danielle, and there will be times when she'll reach out to you. When we communicate, and this is my next question for you actually, and it's going to be for you, is what is your communication preference? How do you want me to communicate with you? Am I calling every single time? Am I sending you a text? Do you need it by email? Do you need all three of those things? Like, how do I get a hold of you that makes it easiest for you?
I prefer a call or a text.
Call or a text? Could it be both?
Yes, either or.
Okay, good.
Technically, you can do all three, but
You don't check your emails that much.
correct.
So if we send you an email, we're going to send you an email and we're going to send a text that says, just sent you an email, check your email. Is that okay?
Yes.
Just so that you know, I prefer text. Like if you need to talk to me, I would like to see you send me a text that says, hey, give me a call, and I'll jump on the phone immediately the second I'm in a position I can do that, because I'm not always available 24/7, because I'm out helping other clients as well, and I think my clients need to understand that. But I prefer a text, and then we'll jump on a phone call if that's what's best. Okay, does that help? Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, good. Anything else you have questions about my team or about how we operate? Any questions about me?
What time are you available until?
I hate
You
to
turn your phone off during the night?
never turn my phone off. If you send me a text, if anybody sends me a text at any time of any day, I will answer that text. Now, what I have to tell you is I've promised my wife and my kids that I'll try to stay off the phone after 7 p.m. I'll try not to answer phone calls. Now, if we've got a fire and your text has got 3 fires on there, then I'm going to call you back, obviously, right? But not every situation's a fire. So I want you to understand that I'll call you if it's a fire, but if it's after 7 p.m., I'd really like a text and we can communicate through text that way, because I have that, I've made that agreement with my wife. Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay. What else? We good? You guys understand my team? You understand how we operate? You understand that I've got all the information about you that I need in order to find you the perfect home? And so now the question becomes, I'm ready to get into business with you. I know that I can help you reach your goals. Based on the things that you've told me today, based on the conversation that we've had, I know that I can help you reach your goals. I know that I can help you find the perfect home. I'm ready to get into business with you. Are you ready to get into business with me? Yes. So we have one yes. Do we have any no's? We have one no.
Well, you haven't asked, I don't remember you asking me my budget.
I don't care about your budget. I'm gonna get you pre-qualified.
Look, I'm pre-qualified for 200,000.
I'm gonna find that out. Look, I'm already here doing the consult, so that it's too late for that.
Got it.
What you don't know is we've already called you the day before this consult, and we have another checklist that we run down the checklist, and so I know a lot of stuff about you before you walk into my office. So I already know what your price is. That's why I don't ask for it here.
Okay.
But she says it's 200. Great, no problem. Going to be living in Sandy Valley. Okay, it's fine. There's lots of big lots out there. They got big garages. There's RV parking galore. It's going to work perfectly. Okay, so I'm ready to get into business with you. Is anybody, yes, any concerns?
So what are you doing before? So you mentioned you're doing...
Let's talk about that after I'm done with my consult, if you don't mind, because that's more of a realtor question, right?
Okay.
Okay, so we're now at the point in the consult where I'm asking for your business. I'm okay to work with you. I know I can help you reach your goals. I'm ready to get into business with you. Are you ready to get into business with me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's exciting. By the way, how soon do you need to be into this home?
30 days. 30 days.
60 days.
30 to 60 days? Okay, good, perfect. All right, so there's just some paperwork that we need to go over real quick. This is all paperwork that's required by the state of Nevada. The first one's called the duties owed. Here it is. I slide it across the table to all of you. You have a copy of it. What this talks about is it talks about my fiduciary duty as a real estate agent and my duty to you It talks a little bit about some of your responsibilities, and I'd like you to start reading the top there. So, and if you have any questions about any of this information, I want you to ask me, because this is important. This talks about my duty to you, and I have a fiduciary duty to protect your best interest above even my own. All right, so if something comes up in this transaction and it's better for you than it would be for me, I still have to direct you to do that, if that makes sense. So if you don't mind reading there just real quick, ask any questions. We have plenty of time. You don't need to rush. Does anybody have any questions about that?
No, it looks good.
Okay, good. So about 3/4, yes, you have a question? No?
Me?
Yeah? Did you raise your hand?
Oh, no.
I just thought I seen you. Sorry. All right, so about 3/4 of the way down there, it says licensee acting for both parties. Let me ask you a question. If I have a listing, my team has a listing, and you like that listing, are you okay if we represent both the seller and you as the buyer on that transaction? If you're okay with that, that's us representing both sides, then you're gonna initial next to may. If you're not okay with that, you're gonna initial next to may not. And I'm not offended either way. I'm totally fine if you don't want us to represent you in that case, but pick one.
May.
Oh, you picked may. Good.
I have a question.
Yes.
I noticed the box is checked off under additional licenses required in this transaction. What would be an additional license besides this?
This team.
Licensee.
Okay, it's the next page. Okay, you guys initialed May. Go ahead and sign at the bottom there. You're going to sign under the buyers. So the 2 on the very bottom, all 12 of you, make sure you get your signatures on those 2 lines. Don't vary off of that. Okay, good. So the next one is called the supplemental list of licensee party. We call it our team duties owed. It's the same as the first document we just went over. It just says that all of these people listed here, and these are their license numbers, are on my team, and they have the exact same fiduciary duty to you that I do. So if you don't mind just signing the bottom there under buyer, and know that these people are on my team. By the way, is there anybody on that list that you know?
No.
No. Okay, good. All right. So the reason I asked that is I've had a situation where a person came up on my list that was the ex of one of the people that I was working with, and we didn't know, and so we had to make arrangements. But in your case, from Hawaii, none of these people are from Hawaii, so I don't think that's going to work. All right. Yes.
I know we're goofing around with all 12 people and all that kind of stuff, but in a real world situation, I know this is a realtor question, but everybody wouldn't sign a duties owed, just the primary person that's going to be purchasing, right?
Well, if I'm sitting with a husband and wife, both of them are going to sign it.
Right.
Yeah. So whoever's going
Family members, and you said 12 last.
whoever's going to be on the loan.
Right, right.
Yeah. Whoever's going to be on the loan. Right. Okay. So let's turn to the next page. This is the residential disclosure guide. Mrs. Don't sugarcoat it back there. I sent you an email before we sat down, and it's a copy of the residential disclosure guide. By the way, this is a 32-page document. It's why I don't print it. It's too many pages. It's in your inbox. If you want to go check your phone, check your inbox, you'll see I emailed that to you. And this is the residential disclosure guide. In real estate in Nevada, we use a lot of different disclosures. And so if I don't do a great job of explaining the disclosure, and if my team doesn't do a great job of explaining the disclosure, and you still have questions, you can go to this. It's kind of like a dictionary of disclosures and what they mean. Does that make sense? All right, so if you don't mind signing that, you're just saying I gave it to you. You're not saying that you read it. You're not saying that you agree to it. You're just saying that I gave it to you and you have access to read it. Does that make sense? 20 minutes, good, we got time. All right, good, let's move on to the next one. Somebody talked about how much do we charge. That's the next page. It's called the buyer loyalty agreement. I don't know if you know, but I do this for a living. This is what I do full time. I don't have another job. I don't have another source of income. And so we use what's called a buyer loyalty agreement. And all this really says, and I want you to read through it, of course, is that at some point, you're working directly with me. I'm going to be your real estate agent. You're not going to have 5 or 6 different real estate agents in town. When you have a question about real estate, you're going to call me. When you want to go to an open house, you're going to call me. When you want to go look at a new home track, you're going to call me. I'm going to represent you in this real estate transaction. We're going to be in business together, you and me, and we're going to work together. And ultimately what happens at the end of that is I get to get paid for my work. Okay, so if you read those first few, what your commitment is and my commitment, read down to that next page, you'll see that we charge a 3% commission is what we charge, which is fairly standard in some of the real estate business in town. We charge a 3%. Now, what sometimes happens in this business is the co-op from the other side is only 2.5% or 2%. And what this says that if that's the case, it says you'll make up the difference between that 2.5% and that 3%. So you would pay that 0.5%. Does that make sense? Any questions about that?
So you don't use a buyer brokerage agreement?
Yes, I do. It's right here. It's called loyalty agreement.
So that's what I'm saying, use this instead.
So it doesn't have to be an LBR form, it could be your own form, as long as it's disclosed.
I'm just curious, what if I'm just given every dollar I have to buy this house and I don't have that extra money?
Okay, come on, ask the hard questions. You guys are making this way too easy on me.
What if I don't?
So somebody object to paying the 0.5%. Come on.
I just
I don't
don't
think
know.
that happens then.
Oh,
So
you mean you want me to be mean?
no,
Yeah.
most
Because the
people are
applicant
mean.
just said he donates some of his commission to help pay my closing costs, and I'm wondering if you could do the same thing.
Great.
Otherwise, I could choose him. I'm just saying this happens.
No, yeah, I understand, and I hear that all the time, and that's a great. It's something we should need to talk about, and let me talk about that with you real quick. Number one is if you read further in, you'll see that it says that you authorize me, your agent, to negotiate closing costs and or additional commissions with the listing side when we go into writing an offer. So I understand that you might be putting in your last penny and it may not fit and it may not be there, but what you should know is that I'm going to go to bat for you, which is exactly what I was asked to do when we were talking about your perfect home. And I'm going to make sure that if we can't get the seller to pay it, we're going to find a way to get it paid, right? If you can't pay it, I'm going to go to the seller and we're going to get the seller to pay it in closing costs. So I hear you. That's how I'm going to handle
Oh,
it.
that'll free up my money.
There you go. And let me ask you this question about the agent that offered to give you his commission. If he offers to give you his commission, how much of your money is he going to give up in this transaction? Like if he's just giving up his money, does he really care about your money? Does he really care that you get the best deal? I don't know if he does, and you might want to have that conversation with him. What I will tell you is I have great negotiating skills. I've been doing this for a long time. And I will make sure that you get the best deal possible when it comes to the money. Now, one thing I also tell you is if we look at a home that's less than 3%, see, because if they're co-oping 3%, this all just goes away, right? This doesn't even matter. Does that make sense? If they're not co-oping 3%, I'm going to tell you so that you can write your offer accordingly. Does that make sense? Like if you had to pay $5,000, maybe you could offer $5,000 less on the house and it would all just kind of wash out in the laundry. Does that help? Mm-hmm. Okay, what other questions do you have? One more thing you should know, remember my admin team? If you read further, you'll see there that we charge a $525 admin fee. Again, we can negotiate that with the seller to pay that in closing costs, but we do charge a $525 admin fee. That's how we keep the team operating at a high level. Any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I'm just curious on the realtor side, what's the $30 extra for? It's normally what, $495?
Oh,
Put that 525.
I was just curious.
You put a smile on his face.
that's a great question.
A real good question.
Extra gas money.
Okay, wait. Let me get my loyalty signed first. Hold on. I'll answer all the questions. Don't worry. All right. Any other questions? So remember
It
what
says I'm committed to you for 180 days.
180 days. Now it also says, if you read just above that, that if there's ever a problem, if there's any reason why you don't want to work with me, you just have to tell me in writing that you don't want to work with me. Now, I've never had that happen, and if that happens with you, I'll be upset. But you do have a way that you can get out of this if you need to.
So I could just go with someone else?
If you think they can do a better job than me, you could. I don't think you're going to find that,
Do I have
though.
to pay you anything?
Different brokerage?
You do not have to pay me anything. I don't care what brokerage they're at. Look, I'm going to provide such a great service. I'm just going to be really honest. My team is going to provide the type of service that you're not going to want to go anywhere else, or I wouldn't put that in the contract. Let's just be honest. Like, would I give you an out if I thought I couldn't live up to your expectations? No way.
I think that washes out the contract. I mean,
Yeah, that just gives you an out, right? Like, you could walk away, but I'm telling you the customer service you're going to get here is going to be over the top. it's going to be a 10 plus, I guarantee it. And if it's not a 10 plus, I'll fix that problem. Probably with money. Like, yes.
So, if I am agreeing that, let's say the co-op is only 2.5, and now we're gonna ask the other agent to pay the commission, what if that causes me to lose the deal? Because
I was gonna go there, but
now we're asking, I was gonna write a clean offer, but because of the commission being low, it's no longer a clean offer.
If we get in a situation where that's the case, remember the duties owed. Do you remember we talked about my duty? What was my duty?
To basically uphold your interest above my own.
No, uphold your interest above my own.
That's
Yeah, the opposite of that. So my job is to make sure that that doesn't happen because I have a fiduciary duty to look out for your best interest. So if we get to that point and we have to make an adjustment, then I, by law, have to make that adjustment. And I will. What else? If there's no more questions, go ahead and sign the bottom of that and we can move on. I want to get on the computer here and look at some houses.
We're okay with signing it.
Okay. All right, so essentially this is the end of my consultation, but what I like to do at this point is I like to get on the computer and I like to look up a home that matches what they told me. By the way, I want them to see this page. I want my buyers to see that I kept notes. Like, remember one of them was they want me to care about them? Well, this is caring right here, notes. Right, so I want to make sure that some agents will look at me and go, why do you have all that stuff? Like, that looks unprofessional. I'm opposite of that. I think this looks super professional. I think this looks like I care and I'm going to make this happen on the terms that they want them to make it happen on. So now every one of our conference rooms has a computer with a screen. Now I'm going to sit down and we're going to look up some houses. If they've been pre-qualified, I've left an hour's time after the consult to go look at a couple houses if that's what happens. If they've not been pre-qualified, I always have an appointment set up after my consult. Might not be a real appointment, but it's an appointment and I can't go show houses because I have an appointment. Do you get that? Okay. But if they're pre-qualified and we're ready to go and we've looked at a couple houses and they fall in love with two of them, we're going to get in the car and we're going to go look at them. All right, that's my consult. That's it. Hope you learned something. There's lots of stuff. What was your realtor question?
Question with that 525 transaction fee, just so it's clear in my head.